Welcome back to yet another 213 Crispy video, and today we are back on Project Troy Belt. So this is video number 2 of our 2-part video series that we're going to do on this one. First one, we was able to get it running from the original state when we purchased it, and today we will be doing a full tune-up on our lawnmower. So that's going to consist of doing a oil change, new spark plug, new air filter, and balancing and sharpening our blade. I will do all of this on camera besides the physical sharpening of the blade, because I do not have my garage workspace cleared off enough for the camera, and the lighting is still not the best in there. So that's something that I've been working on, so we can take some of these videos and start doing them inside the garage. But for now, we are still out in the garage, out in the driveway. So first things first, always start your lawnmower, let it run for just a few minutes. That way it gets all the gunk and everything that's in the bottom of the engine up, and it suspends all of that into the oil, and it makes it a lot easier to drain. So let's go ahead and start it. You only have to let it run for 15-20 seconds. It don't take much. It'll probably start in, I don't know, I'm gonna go with 3 pulls. So that was 20 seconds. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to tip it over on its side. So we're going to move our oil into place. I'm going to flip this around. So the key, just like any other lawnmower that we've done, make sure if you have a fuel shutoff, make sure that you turn the shutoff off for your fuel. This lawnmower unfortunately does not. So I'm also going to take the bag off and get it out of the way. That way it's a lot lighter for us to be able to flip over. Then the next step is make sure your gas cap is on extremely tight, and then pull off your dipstick, drop it. You always make sure you drop it. That's a requirement. And then, just like before, grab the entire lawnmower and tilt it. So actually, I think I need to move the lawnmower this way, or yeah, let's do this. I'm working on trying to make my videos better for you guys, for editing and everything else. So my focus is making sure that I get everything in footage for you guys to see. It's a bad angle because I'm going to hit my tripod. So let's try this again. Okay, this should work. Notice how god-awful black this oil is. So to give you an idea, like, that's disgusting. That's pretty bad. So as you see, let that drain out for a few minutes. I'm not going to bore you with all this, so let me turn the camera off. Oops, you can't see. See? So I go to talking about how I'm focusing on trying to make sure they get everything in focus, and I don't get that in focus. So let's turn this off. We'll come back to it being up on the workbench for us to go ahead and finish the rest of the tune-up. So we'll be right back, guys. Now that we got you up on the stand, we are going to start off by pulling our spark plug boot. So you may or may not be able to see this, which is right over here in front of your overhead valve adjustments. So you notice the very audible click or pop sound. That is what you're looking for when you remove it, but also that's what you're looking for when you go to reinstall it. You'll feel it, a nice firm click. So with judging by the oil that was in it, I don't think it was the original, but I think it's been a while since it's had a oil change. So again, like I was saying, we're going to do spark plug replacement. We're going to do a new air filter. So first things first, we're going to do an air filter. So pretty simple on this particular engine. This is a model 11A A230711, and the research that I've done tells me that this mower is a 2013 Troy-Bilt, 21 inch, has the mulching and the bagging feature on the back. So just like I was telling you, this tag tells me that the model engine is 2012, but just because the engine's a 2012 doesn't mean the actual mower was manufactured in 2012. So what happens is Briggs and Stratton will sell off a lot of engines to manufacturers. They'll sit in warehouses for long periods of time during the manufacturing process, and then that's what happens. Same thing really happens with your automotive engines, boat motors, pretty much anything. I mean, I've seen boats have an engine that's 3 or 4 years off from the manufacturer of the actual boat. So like I said, we're gonna start with an air filter. Pretty simple. With the air filter on this engine, it's got one tab. Pull up, you'll hear the click, slide it down. Like I said, this is, I guarantee, the original air filter, and you can see just how nasty and disgusting this thing is. Bunch of sediment, can't see through it. So to give you a side-by-side comparison between the two, there's no way this engine was breathing with an air filter looking like that compared to what a new one looks like. These, again, I'm going to stress this enough, air-cooled engines, like lawnmower engines, thrive off of good oil and good airflow. And with good airflow, air filter's part of it. So if it cannot breathe in air, it will not run correctly, which then is going to foul spark plugs. It's going to gum up carburetors and everything else that you can pretty much think of, and then you're just going to go down a slippery slope. So to reinstall this, you got two tabs on the bottom. They slide in, push, and you feel and hear the click. That tells you our air filter has been replaced. Next step we are going to do is going to be a spark plug. So obviously you know my spark plug of choice. We're going to be putting in an NGK. So grab your wrench. Everybody has their own preference on what they want to do for spark plugs. And I grabbed the wrong socket, so let me get the right one. I'll be right back, guys. Now that I have the correct socket, let's go ahead and replace our spark plug. So this particular spark plug takes the smaller size. Like I was saying earlier, there is two different sizes spark plugs. One's 5/8 and the other one is the larger, which is 13/16. That's your two common sizes for spark plugs. So take your socket. Notice it didn't take much force to break free, and I am doing everything by hand. I do this intentionally so I do not use tools to accidentally cross-thread anything. So what comes out of this, you're gonna notice we got some black residue on our spark plug, so a little bit of gunk. So what came out of it is a Champion RC12YC, and then NGK is what's going in. They're already gapped, so start it by hand, go nice and slow. Take your time, don't get in a hurry. Set your socket to go on tight, and then the key to this, go till it snugs up, which is about right there, and then about another quarter turn is all it takes. That's just to make sure that it stays nice and tight and doesn't back out. That's it. Now, you would normally go ahead and reinstall this, but I'm not going to do that yet until after I am done with taking off the blade and getting that sharp, and that's for safety. The biggest thing I want to do is stress safety when you're working on your lawnmower. If you do not have your spark plug cap installed, there's no possible way, no matter what you do, this engine will never start because it will never get spark. So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take off our blade. So let's go ahead and tilt this up on its side, and I am going to readjust the camera so that way you guys get a better view of this. And let me get this set up so that way you guys can see, and I'll be right back. And this is the exact reason on why you do the maintenance that you need to do on your lawnmowers, and make sure that you do the maintenance regularly, because this blade, I guarantee, is the original to this lawnmower. So what happens with your blades is about the last inch on both sides, so this is your cutting edge and this is your cutting edge over here on the back side, that does most of the work when it comes to your cutting edge. This one has got some pretty good nicks in it. This side over here looks pretty good, but you notice the amount of surface rust. But what catches my attention is the amount of grass that's stored up on the bottom of this thing, but also this right here. This is string. So somebody's ran over some string at one point in its life, and this will destroy bearings, seals, pretty much anything and everything it can get a hold of. So if you do the maintenance, you'll catch these things before they actually break your lawnmower. So gonna give you a warning now, noise alert. I will be using the JobSmart 1/2" air impact to break this free. So this is a future video, and this is part of it, is for me testing purposes to see how well I like this thing. So far, so good. So, noise alert. So you notice, took that off, no problem. And then the blade. So, give you an idea what I'm talking about. This thing is dull as a rock. Or I should say sharp as a rock. But you got a couple of good nicks right on the edge. So I'm gonna go get this sharpened up, and we're gonna get it balanced, and then we'll come back and reinstall this, and then I will do a future video on how to sharpen a lawnmower blade and make sure that it's balanced, my way anyway. So there's multiple ways you can do it, but that's a whole other video. So I will be right back with a sharpened blade. Now that we have ourselves a freshly sharpened blade, so it's a lot better than it was. Still got one little nick in it, but I'm gonna leave it alone like it is. The key to lawnmower blades is they need to be sharp, but they don't have to be razor sharp. But I do like having at least an edge to it, because the easier this can spin, the less stress the engine's gonna get, and the better of a cut you're gonna get. So I've always stressed, make sure, me personally, I probably sharpen my blade every probably 8 to 10 cuts, maybe once every 2 months. I also will give you a trick. I will keep 2 blades for my lawnmowers, and I'll take one off and swap it out, and then whenever I get time, I'll take the bad one and just go and sharpen it, and then set it aside, so when I'm ready to swap blades again, I have a ready, fully sharpened blade that I can just throw on, and I don't have to worry about going and sharpening it the same day I'm trying to do my blade change. So you got 2 nipples or indentations, so make sure that they go in there, and you got a keyway, so it's going to fit in there. And then also your plate is bowed, so make sure that the bow goes towards it, and it acts as a washer. So just like anything else that I've been stressing, run this in by hand, make sure you don't cross thread anything. Let me get it close, and then I'm going to use my air impact, so caution, noise alert, and that's all it takes. So don't have to be crazy super tight, but you want it tight enough just so that way you know it's not going to come apart. Next step we're going to do is we're going to get it cleaned off. So take your hand, that's all it takes. Take your hand, run across it. If you get some stubborn parts and you got a chisel, or I wouldn't say a chisel, but like a putty knife or something like that, and you want to go ahead and scrape it all off. So now that we got our deck cleared off, we've got our new spark plug installed, but we do not have the cap on yet. We've got our blades reassembled, we've got our oil drained. The next step to our process is just simply adding oil. So Briggs and Stratton gives you a couple different options. They suggest SAE 30, 5W30, or 10W30, and it really comes down to the market that you're in, where you're at, according to the website for Briggs and Stratton engines. Those are the 3 that they recommend. So depending on the temperatures and everything else, I am going to stick, just like my original theory is, SAE 30 is what came from the manufacturer, so that is what I am putting back in it. So the research that I show takes 15 ounces of oil, so we will be filling up our container to 15 ounces. So let's go ahead and zoom on in so you guys can see what's going on. I know it's not level, I get that. So what I usually do is I'm going to just hold this over so when it's close to level, and then we're going to fill this up to where it says 15 ounces. So that's 12, 13, 14, and 15 is right there. The biggest reason why I measure your oil, and I always suggest you measure it, is that way you know what's going in it. So no matter what, you do not accidentally overfill or underfill your oil. So it's very simple. We're gonna go back up to our motor. Actually, zoom out a little bit. Take our oil, and I'm gonna walk around over here. That way you guys can see what's going on. Take your oil dipstick off and gently pour in your oil. Now I know that I'm not sitting on a level area because I'm working in my driveway. My driveway is sloped away from my house. It's another reason why I always suggest measuring your oil before you put it in. But I'm also, the work surface I'm working on is actually 2 garbage cans, and they are sloped towards the house. So I don't want to say it kind of contradicts each other, but it's pretty close to level. So what I will do is take a clean rag, clear your dipstick all the way off, and what you're looking for is there's 2 holes, and that represents the bottom one is going to represent low and the top one's going to represent full. So you want it between those two dots. Preferably the top side is where you want it if you can get it to the top one. So put it in, take it out, and check. So now we are spot on. So you may or may not be able to see this. I'm gonna do my best to point it out, but we are right at that first, or the fill bubble. So let's do this again, just to show you. Out, in, and then if you look really close, we're about right there. So this is fantastic. So I'm happy with this level. If you're a little over, I mean just a little, you're fine. I would rather you be a little on the higher side than on the low side. So that is how you do a full tune-up on a Troy-Bilt 2013 model 11A A230711. So oil's been changed, new spark plug. Make sure we reinstall our spark plug boot. Listen for that click that I was talking about. There it was. So new spark plug, new boot, new air filter, and the blade has been sharpened and balanced. So with that, we're gonna wrap this video up. Please make sure you give the thumbs up or the thumbs down if you like or dislike this video. If there are any tools or parts that I purchased for this, I'm gonna link down low in the description, so make sure you go check those out. They're Amazon links. Those links will get you to anywhere, but if you decide that you want to purchase anything, I would highly like it if you guys purchased something through those links, because I am affiliated with Google as well, so that way I do get a small commission based on if you click on any of those links and purchase anything. So if you click on a link, for example, for the air cleaner or the air filter, then you go and decide to buy a bag of dog food, I'm gonna get, I think it's like 3 or 4%. Does not cost you anything extra to buy it through my link. It's just an affiliation program. That's how it works. Also, I am an AMSOIL dealer, so unfortunately AMSOIL does not make an SAE 30 product, or I'd use it. But if you do decide that you want to buy some AMSOIL, I will have a link down low in the description to my AMSOIL account, so you can purchase through that as well. It does not cost you anything extra. Oh, forgot one last thing. So I am going to start tagging and inventorying my mowers as well. So, and what that's going to detail is, for me, for future reference, I'm going to keep a log, and inside this log I'm going to write down the year, model number, along with this serial number that's on this tag, and then I'm going to write down the parts that I purchased for it for future reference. And then if somebody brings this back to me and they want me to do some more maintenance, I know that it's 15 ounces of SAE 30. It's a 2013 Troy-Bilt, and I've already done a full service tune-up, which is a air filter balancing and sharpening the blade, a new spark plug, and a full oil change. So that way I have a log of every single mower that comes into my possession and leaves my possession. And I'm going to do that for any customer that wants me to just do tune-ups or anything. So I'm going to put a tag on it, and I'm going to inventory it in my log. That way I can keep track of the lawnmowers that come and go. So other than that, I think we're done. So I'm going to do a video on the inventory process as well. That's going to be a future video, so it's something else to keep an eye out for. You may or may not like that, I don't know, but it's something that I want to do. So that's what's going to happen. And you guys have a great and fantastic day.